Greetings, Commanders! In this guide you will learn about the fundamentals of World War mode and its differences from classic random battles. This part is aimed at Commanders. We'll tell you about the mode's mechanics, controlling armies and army features. If you are a squadron soldier or an unassigned player, we have a separate guide for you on our channel. Mode mechanics. In World War, you are not a squadron commander, you are a full-fledged general, with numerous separate armies under your command. Unassigned players will also serve under you. So let's start with the basics. Battles in World War take place in RB with vehicle markers. For commanders, World War is essentially a tactical board with pieces on it. They represent the armies you have to command. Just one click from the hangar will take you to the globe, where you will be able to make your first decision, choosing the scenario. The scenario you choose will determine which nations and vehicles will be involved in the operation. After selecting a scenario, you can launch an operation in it. A battle between squadrons in World War. Commander interface. The operation begins, but you are not in the thick of things. You are in the commander's rightful place, at the tactical board, where you can monitor the operation map and the armies under your command in real time. The regiment's deputy commander, officers and sergeants can also access the command view. They all have equal permissions and can also initiate operations and control armies. How you're assigned duties is totally up to you, but for now, look to the right. This is the Control and Statistics panel. Let's take a closer look. The Objectives tab shows the key targets that will bring victory to one side or another. There are several ways to achieve victory. Your progress in your objectives is also shown here. The Log tab records the current actions of armies and past events. The Commanders tab displays information regarding the squadrons participating in the operation. The Reinforcements tab. Over time, new armies will arrive, which you can deploy in special rare sectors. The arrival time of reinforcements is displayed next to the army in this list. To deploy an army, select one that has already arrived and right-click on one of the rare sectors. They are a different color from other sectors. The Airfields tab, controlling your air forces. The Armies tab. All your ground forces are shown here. You can easily pick out inactive armies and give them something useful to do. Armies. Now turn your attention to the tactical board. If you want to win, you've got to move. To order an army to move, select it with the left mouse button and order it to move to the designed point using the right mouse button. You can set a complex route by holding Shift and clicking points along the way. But remember that movement mechanics bring their own challenges. Soil, sand, roads, rivers, fortifications and other objects. It's not just a flat image, and the terrain affects the speed of your armies. You should bear this in mind when you are thinking of sending a tank army on a flanking maneuver by road or starting a long river crossing. Armies are your main strength in World War, so let's look at the different types and their capabilities. Aviation Army. You create this at the airfield and send them to a specific point. Before an aviation army can take off, you need to equip it with a specified minimum number of vehicles. The flight range is limited by the fuel supply, and ammunition is only replenished at the airfield. The possible targets of this type of army depend on its composition and selected armament. If it doesn't have anti-tank weapons, then engaging a tank army is a no-go. But if you load it with bombs and rockets, you are in business. Infantry Army. More accurately, motorized infantry, as this type of army includes tanks and SPAAGs. This type of army has a useful entrenchment skill. Order an entrenchment by highlighting the army and selecting the order in the control panel. An entrenched army takes significantly less damage under artillery fire, and if it is attacked, a defense battle starts, where the opponent has to work hard to capture your position. Tank Army. This usually includes heavy-duty armored vehicles and sometimes a few particularly valuable vehicles. Tank armies can also entrench themselves. Artillery Army. Not SPGs, but specifically artillery that functions directly on the operation map. Artillery armies are highly vulnerable to other armies and suffer huge losses in direct confrontations. When an artillery army is attacked by any ground army, this triggers an automatic battle that soldiers cannot take part in. It rarely ends well for the artillery. In an attack from the air, your soldiers can help fight it off by controlling the SPAAGs. For all its fragility, artillery is still a highly dangerous army. If the army is moving, order it to stop and wait until you see ready to fire status. That's it. The batteries are in formation. Check that you have the ammunition to begin firing and switch to aiming mode. The mechanics is similar to calling an artillery strike in battles. Get the enemy army's marker in your sights and deal a crushing blow. The main thing is to aim well. If the enemy is precisely contained within the circle of fire, it will take more damage. After the shells are fired, the rear sections begin to top up the ammunition, and after a specific period, the artillery is once again ready to fire. Army features. Every time an army wins on the operation map, its morale level goes up, and every time it loses, its morale drops. An army that has lost all its morale simply surrenders and disappears from the operation map. So if you are attacking an entrenched army, keep in mind that sitting tight isn't an option. And even if you don't lose a single vehicle in a defeat, your army's morale will still go down. It takes time for an army to fulfill any order. An army on the move will quickly stop at your command, while entrenching and deploying artillery is a longer process. You can issue orders and track the time in the control panel. Tactical board. We've looked at the basics and the operation is underway. Before thinking about tactics, check out the operation objective. It is often related to controlling territory or capturing specific key zones. Here they are, and controlling them is easy. If your army has been in the sector and it has a connection, even just to one rare sector, then the zone is yours. If two opposing armies are in the sector, it is considered disputed territory and belongs to whoever first occupied it, until their forces are driven out of the sector. If a commander slips up and allows the sector to be cut off from the rear, all the armies in the sector will start running out of supplies. The time shows you how long the army can hold on. If you fail to restore the connection with your encircled forces or bring them to the rear, say goodbye. Your army will simply surrender. So it goes. Battle. A battle between two armies begins as soon as they meet on the tactical map. The two icons turn into a single battle icon, yellow. The battle is starting. Soldiers from your squadron have time to join and prepare. After this, the battle will start, or the waiting time will be extended to allow unassigned players to join, if there aren't enough soldiers from the squadron. Red. This follows yellow, and the battle is underway, and you can send an aviation army to it at any time. Your soldiers will immediately be able to take off in an aircraft. Black. This is an automatic battle that doesn't require participants. This could be a direct clash between artillery and a ground army, a battle between fighters and tanks, or a battle where there aren't enough vehicles left for soldiers to take part. White. A battle icon turns this color if there are too many battles already in progress. As soon as they finish, the battle icon will turn yellow. When two armies come into contact, the battle doesn't start immediately in order to give each side a few minutes to prepare. This time is for squadron soldiers, and unassigned players can join the queue. If the time expires and there aren't enough participants, the battle opens up to unassigned players. Don't turn your nose up at this help. It's better than giving your opponent a numbers advantage. One other point, you can avoid filling your ranks with unassigned players by independently sending invitation to squads in your squadron, if you don't have another way of contacting them. To top it off, especially for World War, the number of players in a squad has been increased to 10. That's World War in War Thunder, Commander. We've walked you through the mode's basics, and we hope this knowledge will help you in your first few battles. Good luck, Commander.